I'm leaving you to marry Michelle. You've got 1 day to pack your stuff and get out of this house. I don't want to see your face anymore. I see. I was told by my cheating husband, Sam, who was having an affair with my sister, to pack up and leave by tomorrow. The next day, as I finished packing everything and was ready to leave the house, Michelle kept calling me over and over again. Why won't you pick up the phone after just one ring? I'm in a hurry here. Isn't Sam over there? I've been calling him since morning and he won't pick up. Sam? Oh, I'm about to burn that right now. What? After a moment of silence, Michelle finally began to speak in panic. Wait a minute. What do you mean you're gonna burn it? What I mean is just that. Exactly that. What? I'm coming over now. Michelle screamed almost like a shriek and hung up the phone. After making sure the call was ended, I hurriedly started the process of burning my husband. My name is Holly. I'm a 32-year-old housewife. I met Sam through a matchmaking introduction by an acquaintance back in my 20s when I was still working at a company. Unlike me, a plain office worker, Sam was thriving in the star department of a design company, and I fell for him at first sight. Sam was handsome and competent at his work, and it seemed like he never had trouble with women, so I couldn't understand why he agreed to the matchmaking. But I desperately tried to get close to him. As a result, he proposed to me, saying he wanted to date with the intention of marriage, and after a short dating period, we got married. I will never forget the day of our wedding, and I think it was the happiest moment in my life. If I have any regrets, it might be that I couldn't show my wedding dress to my parents. My parents died in a car accident when I was in high school. At that time, I was studying hard for college, but I gave up on advancing to focus on working part-time jobs to send my sister, Michelle, to college. Even after Michelle went to college, I kept a close eye on her, but after getting married, not only me but also my husband Sam started to care for Michelle. Sam really took good care of my family, celebrating Michelle's birthday and actively participating in family gatherings. Of course, my relatives liked my husband, and even the women at his company called him the ideal husband. Michelle also thought highly of my husband, and even after I got married, she would often come to visit our house. I'm happy that we've maintained this sisterly relationship, and I feel relieved thinking that our parents in heaven must be pleased with us. We never really fought and 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. There's a word for marital boredom, but it didn't seem to apply to us as our relationship was quite good. However, there's just one thing that worries me. Lately, Sam's return home has been gradually getting later. Of course, I fully understand that work is busy, but when he comes home later than usual, I worry and, more importantly, feel lonely. Cooking dinner for my husband returning from work and sharing a meal together is my only pleasure as a housewife. One day, while harboring these minor grievances and telling myself he's just busy with work, I got invited to lunch by a former colleague from the company I used to work at when I was single, and we spent the meal catching up and chatting away. The conversation never dried up, but after lingering in the restaurant for a long time, I was about to check the bill when my former colleague suddenly became serious and began to speak gravely. Hey, Holly. Actually, I invited you today because there's something I wanted to tell you. What's with the sudden formality? Sensing her unusual atmosphere, I held my breath and listened quietly. Last week, when I was walking to the station after overtime, I saw your husband Sam walking with a young girl. Sam? No way, you must have mistaken him for someone else. I thought my former colleague was mistaking someone else for him, so I laughed it off. However, my colleague continued with a serious face. I thought so too at first. I couldn't believe it. So, I went around to the gate to make sure of his face, and no matter how you look at it, it was definitely Sam. Wait. That young girl he was walking with could just be a coworker. It's a bit much to assume it's something dubious. Do you think she's just a coworker when they're walking arm in arm like lovers? Plus, the woman was hiding her face with glasses and a mask, you know. I couldn't say anything back to my former colleague's words, my heart starting to race instead. Sam cheating? So the reason he's been coming home late recently is because he's been seeing her? If that's the case, since when? Various questions started swirling in my head, almost to the point of overwhelming me, and I suddenly felt drained. Holly, are you okay? I'm sorry for blurting this out without any proof. I was torn about whether to tell you or not, but I just couldn't keep it from you. No, it's okay. I've troubled you, but thank you for telling me. As I said this, my former colleague's expression softened, as if a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. To be honest, there's still no conclusive evidence, and more than anything, I don't want to believe it myself. But I can't believe you would lie to me. So, I'll look into it myself. My former colleague agreed, and we promised to contact each other again if we found out anything after our lunch ended. On my way home, I headed straight to a detective agency to request an investigation into my husband's infidelity. I was told it would take some time to get the results, but I was called to the office the next week, indicating they probably found something significant. Bracing myself, I went to the office and received the photos from the investigation. My hands trembled as I checked the photos, which showed a person I never expected to see. Why is Michelle arm in arm with Sam? I involuntarily stared at the detective's face. The photos captured Sam and my sister Michelle coming out of a hotel, arm in arm. I couldn't accept reality and was in a daze for a while after returning home from the detective's office. The fact that my husband was cheating and the other woman was my own sister. I pretended to invite them for dinner, resolving to confront them. That night. We're here. Oh, guess what? I ran into Sam at the station on the way here and we came together. Is that so? We got lazy walking, so we took a cab. Oh, you haven't prepared dinner yet? Were you planning to order something? There's no need to order anything when we're about to have a serious talk, right? I began to speak calmly, suppressing my anger towards the two who were nonchalantly lying. Ran into each other at the station by chance? Really? Haven't you two been at a hotel up until now? My words hit the mark, and I didn't miss the shocked expressions on Sam and Michelle's faces. What? At a hotel? What are you talking about? So, how are you going to explain this photo? I confronted them with the photo. As they checked the photo, their faces turned visibly pale. When did you take this photo? The timing doesn't matter. What matters is, what is this about? Explain it to me so I can understand. Then, Sam, either out of panic or anger, started to talk non-stop. There's nothing to explain, the photo says it all. And like you said, the part about running into each other at the station was a lie. We were at a hotel after work and came here by taxi. So, what do you want by calling us out? An apology? Divorce? Sam's attitude, unabashed and as if nothing was wrong, almost brought me to tears, but I held back. Why Michelle, of all people? Michelle is my sister. Can you explain why? Because she's younger and more beautiful than you, obviously. Sure, you were somewhat cute at the beginning of our marriage. But you've just gone downhill year by year, and now you're just old. I can only see you as a maid now. Michelle, hearing my husband's insults towards me, snickered as if mocking me. Now that it's out in the open, I'm gonna divorce you and marry Michelle. What? Are you serious? Looking at Michelle, she nodded, just as Sam said, and I noticed for the first time a sparkling engagement ring on her left hand. You've got one day to pack your things and get out of this house. I don't want to see your face anymore. I see. I wanted to say I didn't want to see his face either, but holding back to avoid crying, I immediately went to my room. As soon as I closed the door, the tears I had been holding back flooded out. After crying alone and calming down, I called someone. The next day, as I was finishing packing and preparing to leave the house, my phone rang. Checking the screen, Michelle's name appeared. As I hesitated to answer or not, the call ended, and she immediately called back, so I reluctantly picked up. Why won't you come out after just one call? I'm in a hurry here. Complaining right off the bat, just how much does she underestimate me? What do you want? I'm still getting ready to leave the house. Oh, is that so? Anyway, hasn't Sam come over to you? I've been calling him all morning and he won't pick up. Sam? Oh, I'm about to burn that right now. What? After a moment of silence, Michelle finally started speaking in a panic. Wait a minute. What do you mean you're gonna burn it? It means exactly that. I'm coming over right now. Michelle screamed almost like a shriek and hung up the phone. About 30 minutes later, I heard a taxi stop in front of the house, and Michelle came bursting in, making a racket. Just because he cheated, you actually didn't do that to Sam, did you? Give Sam back. He was mine. As Michelle, with a face as if she'd seen a ghost, was about to grab me, I calmly spoke up. Do that? What misunderstanding do you have? What I was burning was this. Saying that, I showed Michelle the screen of the smartphone I had been messing with. What? The infidelity drama of the liar Sam, and the other woman is his wife's sister. What is this? I couldn't help but laugh as Michelle's face, which was red with anger a moment ago, turned completely pale. Burning Sam. Yes, I was causing a flame war about my husband's reputation within his company. What I posted was on a company-only online bulletin board, which is usually used as a dedicated social network for the company. I exposed the affair, including the photos I got from the detective and the conversation from last night, on that platform. Since it was a weekday, the information spread quickly, and I enjoyed watching my husband's reputation go up in flames. His popularity within the company was immense. The reason for his popularity was that the company had many female employees who had a strong image of him as an ideal husband. However, once the affair of such an ideal husband was revealed, he received a storm of booing from those female employees. It was really funny. He used to be admired by his juniors, but now he's being told he's a disappointment and done as a person. Too bad Michelle didn't come earlier, you could have seen it together. It's too cruel for you to do such a thing. Too cruel? Who are you talking to? The real cruelty was done by you and Sam, who cheated. Plus, you mocked me a lot, didn't you? You haven't forgotten, have you? As I countered, Michelle clammed up. But then, as if she realized something, she glared at me and spoke again. But now that I think about it, how come you could post on a site that only employees can use? Don't tell me you hacked into it? Well, I doubt you could do such a thing since you didn't go to college. If you really did that, you're going to jail, you know? Michelle looked at me with a grin, as if she had discovered a criminal long sought after by the police. Maybe I should call the police right now. Since when did you start making such silly deductions? There's no way I would do something like that. Hearing this, Michelle frowned, but I continued. Well, to answer your question, you were talking about marrying Sam yesterday, right? I guess that's not going to happen anymore. What do you mean? Sam has been transferred as of today to a sales office so remote that not even radio waves can reach. Confused, Michelle didn't understand, so I started to explain. The story goes back to when Sam and I got married. Actually, the person who was witness for us was the CEO of the company where Sam works, Tom. Tom was a close friend of my father's and happily took on the role. When my parents passed away, he was more saddened than any of my relatives, and I still remember him crying throughout the funeral. Of course, since we were little, Tom, as a close friend of our dad, doted on Michelle and me. After our parents passed away, he supported us both financially and emotionally. When I told him I decided to give up on college to work and support Michelle, the CEO was the only one who respected my decision. But my part-time job alone couldn't cover the college fees, and thanks to his discreet support, Michelle was able to graduate safely. Tom is such an important person to me that I can't imagine where I would be without him. Returning to the story, last night, after being told by my husband to leave, Tom's face suddenly came to mind, and I called him seeking help, telling him about what happened. Learning about the events today, an enraged Tom immediately summoned Sam and ordered his transfer to a remote area. Of course, I accompanied them to these summons. On the way to see Tom, I couldn't help but laugh internally at Sam's pale face in the car, not saying a word, all shrunken. As I said on the phone, I've heard everything you did from Holly. I had high hopes for you, so it's truly disappointing. But it turned out to be timely. We just had a vacancy in the remote sales office last week. They needed someone immediately. I can't keep you in your current department any longer. I've already informed them, so head there right away, okay? Though Tom isn't the type to yell, I could tell every word was laden with anger. Gone was yesterday's bravado. Sam was now meekly replying with a yes. Also, Holly, could I have a word? He beckoned me over as if to share a secret and handed me a small note. Tom, what's this? Officially, I shouldn't be sharing this with someone outside the company. This is the login ID and password for our company's internal portal. When I received your call yesterday, I couldn't believe my ears. But I feel partly responsible for this. What are you saying? Tom, you have no reason to feel guilty. This affair is entirely Sam's fault. He looked apologetic, but I told him what I truly felt. Even so, I was the one who introduced Sam to you, right? And above all, I owe it to your parents. I'm terribly sorry for causing pain to Holly. I silently accepted his apology. You can use what I gave you as you like. Sam will be moving to a different office today, and the posts will eventually be deleted automatically. After saying that, Tom finally smiled mischievously. All right, thank you. I'll make good use of it. Hearing my words, Tom nodded and started lecturing Sam again. Sam, what you've done is unacceptable, both as an employee and as a person. Listen well. You've disgraced me. Although you've managed well at the headquarters so far, from now on, you'll be re-educated from scratch in the mountainous branch. Be prepared. After listening to the end, Sam suddenly slumped to the ground as if his legs gave out. Finally grasping the career he had built was ruined in an instant. Tom, with a sigh, forcibly made Sam stand and pushed him towards the new office. After seeing their car, I thanked Tom and headed home. After explaining everything to Michelle, the front door opened, and Sam, still dejected, came into the living room. Sam? Michelle, you're here. And Holly, too. Oh, have you already been fired from the new office? When I sneered at him, Sam just glared at me silently. I've been told to come back here and collect my things since I won't be coming back. Sorry, Michelle. After our affair was exposed, I was transferred to the countryside. Yeah. I just heard about that from my sister. Michelle replied without making eye contact. I'm sorry, but Michelle, please pack your things and head back home. I need to return there today since I have work tomorrow. Once I'm done packing my stuff, I'll come pick you up. Tiredly, Sam said this while holding Michelle's hand. Michelle, I'm really glad you accepted my proposal. I couldn't survive alone in such a backwater place. Thank you, truly. As Sam was tearfully trying to hug Michelle, she shockingly pushed him away with all her might. Sam fell to the floor, but it was his astonishment, not the pain, that had him staring wide-eyed at Michelle. Michelle? What happened all of a sudden? You were going to come with me, right? What? Absolutely not. There's no way I'm going with you. I won't follow you. Michelle spat out these words at Sam. I wanted a marriage where I could work in a glamorous office in the city and spend weekends in luxury hotels. And what? Get sent to the countryside because of an affair being exposed? Sorry, but I don't love you enough to live in such a rural place with you. Ugh, this is the worst. Here, take this back. In the end, Michelle threw the engagement ring she was wearing on her left hand at Sam. Michelle, you're kidding, right? Wait for me. I can't live in such a place alone. Shut up. Go to that damn countryside by yourself. Please, come back to me, Michelle. However, Michelle didn't listen to Sam's pleading words and left the house. Oh dear, looks like you're all alone now. Upon realizing Michelle wasn't coming back, Sam just lay face down on the floor and started crying loudly. While looking down on such a pathetic sight of him, I murmured in my heart, "You got what you deserved," and left the living room myself. After that, Sam continued to work alone at the remote sales office but resigned due to the inability to handle the loneliness. Though he returned to the city, finding a job was difficult since he was already well past 30. Unable to live a frugal life, he eventually lost his home and ended up living on the streets. As for Michelle, she seemed to have fallen into a deep slump after leaving her husband, resorting to visiting nightclubs to vent her frustrations. However, getting too involved led her to a mountain of debt due to the accumulating expensive bills she couldn't pay, falling into a financial crisis. She came to our house several times asking for help, but since I've already blocked her number and moved, she won't be coming around anymore. As for myself, I am now working as a secretary for Tom, utilizing the qualifications I studied for and obtained during my time as a housewife. It was something I studied for just in case and as a hobby, never imagining it would actually come in handy. I'm secretly grateful to my past self. It's been a while since I worked, and there are many things I'm not used to, but I'm working hard every day, hoping to repay Tom for his support in any small way I can.